Welcome back to part 4. Now on this one we're going to build some relationships between our bags sheet here and, so we have bags data. Bags data is by category, bags is by category code, and we can find those codes over here on the code sheet. Zoom in a little bit so you can see those. So we have the category codes and we have the types. I'm going to go back to the bags sheet, and what I want to do is I want to create a relationship. I'm going to find that relationship on my data tab. Now if I look way over here in the data tools, this little icon right here says relationship, so I'm going to select that one and I'm going to create a new relationship. What I want to do is I want to create it from the bags worksheet to the category code, because we had category code on the other sheet. Now what is the related one? That's going to be on the category worksheet, or the category table. So grab the category table and we want category code. Code and code, say OK. Now we're going to create another relationship to the bags sheet. So I'm going to say OK. We want from the modeling from the bags. For this one, we want type. Remember, it showed type in the gender, so we're going to say type. And this one's going to be the gender worksheet, and again by type. So it's type and type, and we had code. If I view, so it comes from my category codes, the type to type. All right, so we have relationships. I can go ahead and close that box. Now let's create a pivot table based on those relationships. First thing I want to do is click inside my table somewhere, click on the Insert tab, click this little drop down arrow here, and I'm going to say From Data Model. I want it to go on a new worksheet, so I'll say yes please. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see what's cooking. Notice over here in my pivot table area, I have bags, categories, and gender. And I can open each one of those up and I can see the different categories within. So with the bags opened up, let's go total bag sales. And I think, yeah, it's all the way here to the bottom. So I'll go total bag sales. Notice that we have some of total bag sales over here on the worksheet. Now I want to change that to accounting format. So up here in field settings, I'll click on the number format. I'll select accounting with 0 decimal places. Click OK. And click OK. Now, if anything that we do to our table, the whole table should be with that accounting format, 0 decimal places. Let's go down to category and let's select the category box. On gender, let's select the gender box. So we have the different categories, backpacks. Under backpacks, we can see each one of the genders. Duffel, same thing for which ones were available. Let's rename that sheet tab before we go any further. So I'm going to double click. I'm going to name it category pivot. And hit enter. I'm going to go to the Insert tab. And what do we want to do here? We're going to put in a pivot chart. So over here, it says pivot charts, and I can select pivot chart and say OK. Well, that looks pretty good. However, I think I want it to be a pie chart. So I need to come over here to the Design tab, and I'm going to change the chart type, and we'll call that a pie chart. OK. Now, right now, this doesn't really show a lot. I only want to see backpacks. So I'm going to have a pie chart of backpacks. So under category, select the down arrow, and we can say select all to unselect everything and only select backpacks and say OK. Notice that my table updated to then match my pie chart. Let's sort the table from largest to smallest. So right now it's men, unisex, women, and it's not even from largest to smallest or smallest to largest. So let's click in B5, come over here to sort and filtering, largest to smallest. Now my table's sorted. My pie chart also adjusted, but what I don't see is the labels on my charts, and I want to see the labels. So I'm going to click on my pivot chart, click on my chart elements, and I'll say data labels. Right now it's an amount, but I want to see a percentage. So I'll double click, opens up my format data label here. I will unselect values and select percentage, and then I can close that dialog box. I like it. Click off my chart. That looks pretty good. I can hit control. I'm going to move it. Actually, I'm just going to drag it up. I can move it, or I could copy and paste. I think in the instructions I tell you to copy and paste. Just as easy just to drag it up there. Okay, now we want to group all of our sheets. So I unselected the pie chart. Otherwise, the pie chart will be coming in a little differently. I unselected it. I'm going to group all the sheets by clicking on the first one, right click, and I'll say select all sheets. I can do the same thing by clicking on the first sheet, hitting the shift key, selecting the last sheet, everything would be grouped. Now I want this to be formatted for 1 page on the width. So over here, I'll say 1 page. I'll leave the height alone because I want it to go into different sheets so that I don't truncate all my data, because if you have thousands of records and you try to put it on one sheet, it doesn't do you any good. All right, I can go to margins, custom margins. This is one way to get here. So page, I can see it says fit to one page here. This one's left alone. I'm going to leave it on portrait just because I have a lot of data. Margins, that's okay. You could center it horizontally if you'd like. Header footer, I'm going to put a custom footer in here with my name in the first section. In the middle section is the sheet name. So every sheet name, I'll have bags, pivot table 2, category, pivot table. They'll have the names on each sheet. The last one is the file name, and that should be chapter5 _ your last name. And I just have to click right here. Click OK. I always love to do a print preview because I want to make sure my work looks the way I want it to before I turn it in. This looks good. I have 10 sheets. That one, bag subtotal, still there. Bag subtotal. Okay, that one's all right. Pivot table. Yes. Next one, pivot table 2. That looks good. Category pivot. I'm good with that. And then bags data. That one kind of got scrunched a little bit, didn't it? And then our codes. But notice that I have a footer on every single page. Kind of important. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hit save, preserve everything. File, export, PDF, create a PDF for XPS. Now, a lot of folks are missing this step. Options. Entire workbook. OK. Publish. I'm going to be rewarded with a PDF. And I can see I have 10 sheets in my PDF, and I can scroll and it's preserved my data, and I checked and I do have a footer on each one, and it looks exactly the way I wanted it. Close that file. Now I can grab both of the other two files. I can grab my Excel file and my PDF file, right click, send to, compress folder. We're done. See you on the next chapter.